So we have pick a pile, first shadow work. Pile 1 is rest. Pile 2 is death. Pile 3 is cleanse. And pile 4 is caution. Okay, so if you picked rest as your card, which is pile 1, this is your reading for shadow work. So for the first card, it was what is your inner child wants you to know, and I got the Hanged Man in reverse. So usually he's like this, so he's upside down, but he was in reverse when I pulled this card. And it usually in reverse, it means that you may feel like you're sacrificing a lot and you're kind of getting nothing in return. But I think that for this card particularly, like where it's located, it means that you are avoiding something. You're trying to avoid the inevitable, I guess. And your inner child just wants you to know just to kind of do it. I don't know what it is. Everyone avoids different things for different reasons. But that was the first card. For the second one, it's where the source of the wound came from. And I got 2 of coins, which traditionally, this one kind of shows it a little bit, but not as well. Traditionally, it's a person standing and they have coins on each end, and it's like a little like Xfinity symbol, and it has 2 different coins and they're trying to balance it. And I think that all your pain or anxiety that you have is from you're trying to balance either 2 different things, like aspects in your life, like career, wealth, or love life, things like that, or 2 different people. And you're trying to make it kind of like a perfect and delicate balance, and you're multitasking way too much. You're trying to balance things that you shouldn't be trying to balance, and you kind of need to let go of a few things to help yourself out. The next one is what you're hiding from yourself, which is the Sun in reverse. And I'm going to show you guys this card because it's absolutely beautiful. That's what it looks like. It was upside down. So the only way that I can, best way to explain this, I want to say, is the Sun in the reverse is more like a cloudy day, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, but in my head it did. So you're blocking your own happiness. You're kind of hiding the positive in things. It's kind of like people, when they're stuck inside from the rain, they think negatively, but there's still a good from it. And I think that you're just kind of giving yourself your own rainy day, and you need to break yourself out of it. For what you're not seeing or aware of, we got the 8 of Cups, which means it's time for you to change. You're kind of bored of the same day-to-day routine. You're stuck doing the same thing. This is the card because it's absolutely beautiful. But you feel stuck kind of doing the same thing every day, and you need to change. And I think what's stopping you from changing is you're afraid to break out of what is familiar, but you need to break away from it. Number 5 is what qualities you're projecting onto others, which is the 9 of Pentacles. Oh, my goodness, I'm reading my notes, sorry. So the 9 of Pentacles is usually, I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. When you think of like the tarot decks, they go from like each suit or whatever goes 1 to 10, and 10 is complete. And then they have the knights, the court cards, but those are more describing people rather than a journey. They do go with a journey too, but they're a little different. But 10 is like the complete, and you're at 9. So it's like you're almost there, but you have high standards. And I think you expect people to act exactly how you act, and it's becoming an issue in your life because you're projecting people and making them be you rather than be themselves. And you just kind of have to learn to let go of that. Sorry, I'm just turning my notes because I have notes on the other page. And for 6, which is where do you need support in your life, we got the Moon, which I think kind of goes with the Sun in reverse. I kind of like that they're close to each other. But the moon is basically saying that you need someone who brings clarity and understanding in your life, because you are not very good at trusting your own intuition. It's like you know what you should do, but for some reason you don't trust it. The best way I could think of this, because it kind of goes with the sun in reverse, is when someone's having a rainy day, they always need someone there for them, and that's what you need. You need someone who like brings you out of this dark cloud that you're in. You're kind of in a depressed state, and you need someone to bring you out of there. For number 7, it's what will you be able to achieve when you remove the pain, and you got to the 2 of Wands. And this card is more about planning. I'll show you this one because it's one of my newer decks, and it's really pretty. I don't know why I whispered that. But this card is about planning. So you're going to be able to prepare yourself for other opportunities ahead and start kind of planning for what you want. The best way I think to describe this is Ace of Wands is a really good card. Again, it's about new beginnings, starting over, starting fresh. This is like the second phase in it. It's like, hey, I'm starting, now what am I doing? And once you're able to kind of let go of this dark cloud, you'll be able to start planning for what you want. And I think a lot of this dark cloudness is honestly because you're trying to balance whatever this is, and it's too much for you, and you kind of need to learn that you can't control everything in your life. For number 8 through 10, these are all just kind of guidance cards. I said that weird. For how to move forward, like what to do to step forward. So the first one is the Ace of Pentacles, which when you're talking about suits, it's the first card. So it's new beginnings, it's planning, it's preparing yourself for things. But because it's Pentacles, this is more telling you to start planting yourself in the material world. So the plans that you make them money oriented. Kind of figure out what you want to do with your money. It could mean that like to prepare yourself for opportunities. So if you see opportunities coming your way that'll help you make money, just make sure that you're ready for those. Next one is the 9 of Pentacles, which you did get here before, but because of the placement, it's slightly different meaning. And I kind of think, again, 9 of Pentacles is you're almost there, but I think this one is telling you more to practice restraint. This is the card for this one. It's to make sure that you're doing things to reach your goals, and you're not just kind of doing whatever you want, but kind of remember what you want in the end rather than what you want at that moment. Then your last card is, the Empress, which it's about willpower and learning to rely on yourself and build your own confidence. I think that you need to work on trusting yourself, which again, kind of goes with the Moon card too. You don't trust your intuition. You're not very confident in yourself. And this card's all about like someone who's confident and kind of full of themselves, but not in a bad way. And you just need to learn to trust your intuition so that you can heal yourself. If you picked pile 2, the Death, this reading is for you. Start by saying, I don't know if everyone's going to pick the Death one, but the Death isn't as bad as it looks. It's usually about a phase in your life dying. It's not so much as somebody dying, but a phase dying. I was hoping not to do love readings because I did a few already, and I was trying to keep this not so love related, but this one, for some reason, it could be connected differently, so I'll try to do a few different interpretations, but this one just seems a lot like a love reading. It's like you have to let go of a relationship and you're afraid, which makes sense. Everyone doesn't like to break up, but it happens sometimes. So the first one is, what does your inner child want you to know? And we got to the Ace of Cups. And cups in general are very emotional. They are water sign based. And all water signs are emotional. No offense to water signs, I'm one, but we are very emotional. And this has the Moon, which kind of gives me Cancer energy. But your inner child kind of wants to tell you that you have a lot of emotional baggage and you need to release whatever this is spiritually, emotionally. I get the feeling that it's a relationship that you need to let go, but you just need to let go of all of this emotion that you have going on. Number 2 is, what is the source of all these wounds? And I have the Ace of Swords in reverse, which is very chaotic. And usually upright is like moving forward, very fast paced, like let's go do this. But reverse, it's all the negative aspects. You're confused. You're kind of all over the place. You can be impulsive and you're unsure of your actions. So it's like you act, but you're not thinking of how you're acting, and it's creating this chaotic situation for you. And a lot of it is kind of in your head, which is not the nicest thing to say, I know, but a lot of it's in your head. You're kind of creating a lot of these situations in your brain, and it's making you overthink, like, well, what if I do this and this happens? And it's like you need to kind of stop. The second one is what you're hiding from yourself, and I got the Tower in reverse. And I know this is supposed to be what you're hiding from yourself, but I feel like you're just turning the other way, I guess. Because you feel like there's a crisis happening, like it's there, it's gonna happen, but you don't want it to happen, and you kind of just sitting there and you're like, oh crap, this is gonna happen, but you're trying to push it away, and you kind of have to let it happen, because the tower is the tower, and no matter what, the building's gonna crumble, because what the tower about is a whole building collapses, and it doesn't collapse because it's a bad thing. It more collapses because it was unstable to begin with, and now you can build something better. And this can also mean that you need to learn to be more self-reliant, because you may feel like you're codependent on this relationship, and you kind of need to stop. Number 4 is what you're not seeing, which is the Sun in reverse. And when it's reversed, I said this in the other group too, it's more like clouds covering the sun, and it's like you're not seeing anything positive in your life. You're just seeing everything negative, and everything bad in your life is all you're seeing, and you can't see any positive. But I feel like, again, to go back to relationships, it's blocked by a person. I feel like somebody in your life is just making your life more negative than it needs to be. Number 5 are the qualities that you project onto others, which this one's kind of good. You're a generous person, you're caring, you're nurturing, you're very practical, you're comforting, welcoming, down-to-earth person. You're very, honestly, well-rounded, and this is the card. It's very pretty. Again, it has the moon, which kind of gives me Cancer vibes, but I don't know if this is a moon. I said it's a moon, but then I realized now it's a coin, but it looks like a moon, so I'm gonna go with it. But you're a very passionate, caring person, and people realize that. All they see is the good in you, and I feel like you see the bad in yourself, and that is not good, but you're putting all good qualities out there. Number 6, let me just turn my little handy notebook. Number 6 is where you need support, and I got the Hanged Man in reverse. And when he's reversed, you feel stuck. You feel like you're trapped. The Hanged Man is usually about someone waiting, like hanging out there, like, oh, hey, just waiting for the right move. But when he's reversed, it's more, you're waiting for it, but you also feel like you can't move forward. You feel like you're trapped in a spot where nothing's happening and you don't know what to do. And I think the best thing for this is that you need to learn to ask for help. Like, don't be afraid to ask people, hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z. It's going to help you move forward in the long run. The next one is what you'll be able to achieve once you remove all of this. So once you kind of stop overthinking your life in general, what you'll be able to achieve is the Temperance, which is a lot about balance and harmony and peace. And this card does not show the picture very well. I like this deck because it has good energy, but it doesn't depict the whole prettiness of the Temperance. Usually Temperance is kind of, I think, looks like a angel coming out of the cloud, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's about balance and peace and happy and having clear vision and kind of planning for the future. So when you let go of whatever this is, you'll be able to plan for the future a lot better. And then 8 through 10 is all like your next steps. Like things, it could be what you need to do or things that are going to happen. And I got the Lovers, which again is why I think this is more of a relationship based. I feel like once you let go of this relationship, a better one is going to come. But the Lovers can also mean that you need to learn to develop your beliefs and stop worrying about what social norms are. Like, you don't need to follow what everyone else does. Just do whatever the fuck you want. I didn't mean to swear. But just do what you want. Like, stop worrying about what others think. The next one is the Emperor, which this one kind of shows a little. He's a man, obviously. But the Emperor, you have to think about like an actual ruler. They are structured, they are firm. A good emperor is usually still kind. But it's someone who sets plans and follows through them. They are very methodical and strategic with their things, and they like to create happiness, but they plan it out. And this is kind of one of your next steps. Is the best thing is to plan, but also remember in your plans to ask for help. And I feel like that's why it's right underneath the Hanged Man, because you're not very good at asking for help and you need to. The last card is the 10 of Wands in reversed, which it's very pretty. I don't know if you can see what this is, what it looks like reversed, but it's still pretty regardless. And this card, it's usually kind of chaotic, but I think that the advice it's trying to tell you is to look to see what's bothering you and drop them or whatever it is that's bothering you in life. So if it's just something stupid, just drop it. Stop focusing on things that are bothering you and letting them to continue to bother you, which is where I think this chaotic energy comes from, is you overthink way too much and you kind of just need to be like, okay, this isn't serving me. I'm done. That is all I have for this pile. If you have any questions, you can comment or message me. All right, so if you picked Cleanse, I'm going to apologize in advance because you're probably not going to like me after this reading, but whatever. Cleanse in general is about scrubbing away the bad things, the dirt, the grime, and becoming new and shiny, which this is a lot about. But for the most part, what I'm getting for this is that you're an addict. I don't know what you're addicted to. Everyone could be addicted to anything. It could be social media. It could be food. It could be anything. I'm not saying you're like a crack addict, but you're addicted to something and you are not letting it go, and it's causing a lot of drama in your life, and you kind of have like the poor me mentality, and it's kind of your fault. And to say it nicely, I'm sorry, but it is what it is, I guess. The first card is what your inner child wants to tell you. And this is kind of, it's weird because tarot cards in general tell a story, but they're very consistent when you pull cards, even though they're from other decks. So the first one I got was the Devil in reversed. And, the Devil in general, I don't think is the very nicest card to get. Sometimes it's okay depending on what you want. But it's about being locked up and chained. But when it's reversed, it's a lot about addiction. And you need to you're chaining yourself down with something. It's kind of like you're trapped in the past and you won't let it go. And it's time for you just to kind of break free from those chains, because you can easily let it go, but you for some reason refuse to. And that's not my business, but it's causing a lot of drama in your life, and your inner child is just saying, hey, let it go. It's time to move on. The source of all this pain is the Moon in reverse. So you have a lot of anxiety and fear, and I feel like a lot of people have tricked you in your life, and that's where it came from. But again, you have to move on from it. People are assholes. You can't do anything else about it. But you're also not sure what the right thing is to do. You're kind of deceiving yourself. It's like what the right thing is to do, and then you don't do the right thing. And I don't know why, but you're very much afraid to do it. and that's where all the pain is coming from. The next one is what you're hiding from yourself. And I got the 5 of Swords, which I don't think you're so much hiding this from yourself, but I think you're causing this on yourself. It's the feeling that everybody is kind of against you, that you think that people are just ready to stab you in the back. I don't know, I can show you, like, this is the card, and this deck actually depicts the normal tarot deck, and you can see he has 2 swords, and he has another one here. Is there 2 swords? He does have 2 swords. I had to count for a second. And then there's the other ones on the floor. But it's like everyone else is done, but this guy isn't. It's like he's still wanting to fight, even though no one else wants to. And I think that what you're hiding from yourself the most is that you're still holding on to all this pain that everyone else has let go, and you need to just stop. The next one is 4, which is what you're not seeing. And I got the 4 of Swords in reverse. I think that you don't see yourself recovering. Again, I get the addiction from this, and I think that you don't see like you're ever going to get over the addiction, but you are. The 4 of Swords is someone who has, well, it's in reverse, is someone who's gotten over, and they're recovering, and they're healing, and they're learning to kind of love themselves again. But this is also kind of saying a lot of it is in your head. You're overthinking everything. You're still very angry about something, and you just need to learn to let it go. It's a card that says you need to learn to back down, which kind of really goes with the 5 of Swords, because it's someone who's not letting go of a war that's everyone else is like, we're done, but you're not. Number 5 is kind of the qualities that you're projecting on others. And even though it's reversed, it's the 10 of Wands, this card depicts somebody who clearly she's holding on to more than she needs to. She has a heavy burden. She's exhausted. She's tired. You are probably exhausted. You are tired, and you're still holding on to all of these grudges. And it's like you're kind of putting all this burden on everybody else now, which is mean. And I'm sorry, because again, you're going to think, hey, everyone's against me. But it's because of yourself, which this is why I said this group's not going to like me. I'm sorry. But you just kind of have to remember that it's not adding anything good to your life. Just let it go. It sucks. It's hard. I know you shouldn't say that to everybody, but it's the truth. You're kind of holding on to stuff that's just making you more in pain. Number 6 is what you need help with in order to kind of move on. And I got the Knights of Cups, if I can pick this up. Knight of Cups in reverse. This deck is cool, but it doesn't really show it very well. Cups are always very emotional cards because they're water, and water is usually emotional. But what you need is to learn to let go of control. You're kind of frustrated. You feel like things aren't going your way. For some of you, maybe not all of you, there was something you were supposed to get and it just didn't happen, and that's where all this frustration is. But you have to let it go. You're holding on to it. It's basically killing you, and if you don't let it go, you're screwing yourself. Number 7 is, oh, I said that wrong, fudge sugars, whatever, same thing. Number 8 was the Knight of Wands. I did the Knight of Wands first, which is the Knight of Wands is what you need to do, and you need to let go, but also you're kind of letting your emotions get the best of you, and I'm trying to think of it because I kind of mix these up a little bit, but I think it happened for a reason, to be honest, because you do need to learn to let go. You are a very, very emotional person. You get jealous very easily. I don't know if it's of a significant other or jealous of people in general, but you're a very jealous person, and you kind of need to learn to let that go. And I think that once you learn to control your emotions a little bit, it is going to help you let go and move on and kind of stop this poor me mentality. And I feel bad saying that because I'm not a very mean person, but like, you're stuck, and it's because you're just in your head. 8, 9, and 10 are all just kind of steps you can take. And you got the Wheel of Fortune, which is like the prettiest card if you want to see it. And I think that the best way to explain this card is it's kind of like a Ferris wheel. It goes in a circle. You can be at the bottom, you can be at the top. You're never at the same place all the time. So even though you may feel like you're at the bottom and you're stuck there, it's going to keep turning no matter what you do. It's going to push you one way or the other, but eventually you will be back up. And I think you just kind of need to remember that life can get better and things can change and not everything is so negative, and just to kind of look forward to the good things. Number 9 is the Knight of Pentacles, which is about someone who's hardworking. And even though things seem shitty right now, you really have worked really, really hard for where you are. And you're kind of almost there. And you just need to kind of, I think the best way for you to set your goals is to set a routine. So do the same thing every single day. Yeah, it's boring, but I think that's what you need. You need a routine to help you push forward and recover. And then finally, the last card, which I kind of really like for this, is the 5 of Swords. And 5 of Swords is literally recovery. And a lot of the times it actually means recovering from addiction, which is why I think this whole thing is about addiction. I don't know what you're addicted to. Maybe you're addicted to pain. I don't just know. But you are going to recover, and you're going to continue to fight for what you want. But you just need to learn to heal. And it's okay to step away from people. And sorry, my chickens are fighting. They're baby chicks. You need to just kind of stop pushing so much. It's like you constantly want to fight and you need to stop. You need to learn to take a break and rest, and it'll be better. I'm sorry that that's not all rainbows and butterflies, because I feel really bad that it's so negative. But if you picked this this pile, which was cleanse, it kind of fits very well because you want to cleanse yourself from all this negative energy that's going on. If you have any questions, you can comment or message me. All right, this is my last pile. These actually kind of went fast. So I'm not going to lie. At first, whoops, I kind of just hit that. My bad, that was my foot. At first, this whole setup confused me. I obviously write notes down first, and then it all came together. And I said, oh, that kind of makes sense. I feel like you're hiding your real self from everybody. And you shouldn't, because you're a cool person. But it's like you don't think it's normal and you don't care for it. And that's not okay. It's caution, by the way. I kind of forgot if you picked this one. And it's about slowing down and not taking risks. And although you might think that as a sign, like, hey, let me not do this, I kind of think that this whole thing is saying that you've always made sure you didn't take risks, and you need to, just a little bit. I'm not saying, go gamble your whole life away, but be yourself. It's not, nobody should ever be afraid to not be themselves. And I know that's said everywhere, but I firmly believe that. Be who you are, because you are a good person when you are who you really are. So the first card for your inner child, what they want to tell you is strength. And I love this one because, one, it reminds me of Toothless. Is it Toothless? From How to Train Your Dragon, the black dragon. It just kind of gives me those vibes. It's a panther, but still, just as adorable. Yeah, I sound crazy saying a panther's adorable. Whatever. This card is saying that they want you to have courage to be yourself, that you are strong, you're a calm person, you're great when you were there for them. I feel like you were there for your own childhood, like you had trauma going on and you were very good at keeping yourself together, kind of being your own protector. But now it's time to have the courage to move forward, I guess. I just feel like it's just your inner child just screaming, hey, be yourself, and you don't want to do it, and I don't know why. And so the next card is the source of this wound, and I was very confused at first because it's the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups is all about family and being happy and being joyful, and reversed is obviously the backwards, but we didn't get reversed. And kind of what I'm thinking is that you have a good family now, but you're afraid that if you tell them your truth, that it's not going to be perfect. I think that you're afraid of people knowing who you really are because they're not going to love you. And I feel like they will. You just need to be yourself. And I don't know what it is, but you just need to tell them. And I think that your family is going to love you no matter what. because again, you're somebody who's always there for them. What you're hiding from yourself is the Hierophant in reverse, and usually it's someone, I'm trying to say this like in a nice way, I guess, because you guys, I feel like the other group I was mean to, but I think you guys need love, not straightforwardness. You don't want to conform to the rules, and that's what you're doing right now. It's like, I think that you want to do your own thing and you're afraid to do your own thing and you're hiding it from yourself. You're like, no, I'm happy the way I am, but you're not. You want something, and I don't know what it is that you want to be different from. Everyone has their own thing. But it's just like you're hiding it, and it's kind of making it hard. And it's okay to question traditions and not do things traditionally, especially nowadays. There's no normal anymore. I feel like being different is the new normal, and don't mean that in like a mean way, but it's okay to not be the same as everyone else. You don't need the white picket fence, the family, the whatever people think is normal nowadays. You don't need that. Like, just don't worry about it, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm being very momish, so I'm going to stop. Number 4 is what you're not seeing, and it's the 4 of Cups. You're not seeing a solution to this. You feel like you feel like you need to hide this forever is what I'm getting. And I don't know if you can see it, specifically this one. It just makes me feel like someone's trying to pretend, and you see like the smoke in the back, like kind of smoke and mirrors, and it's like you don't see any way out of this. You don't see how you can be yourself or show people who you are. And I think the advice from that is to kind of just self-evaluate, see what your true interests are, see what you love, and there's nothing wrong with loving something that's different than everybody else. Number 5 are the qualities that you're projecting onto others, and this is the 8 of Swords. I think that you're kind of self-victimizing. I think that whatever you think this is that's different is not as different as you would think, and I don't mean that to be mean. It's just I think you hurt yourself more than you need to. But it's also another thing is you need to remember just to kind of surrender yourself to fate. It could be to whatever energy you want, but you just kind of have to remember that things happen and everything happens for a reason, which I know people don't like hearing saying because that's like weird toxic positivity or whatever the fuck it's called. But I think in this situation, you are having these thoughts for a reason and they're valid, and you should just learn to be yourself and kind of evaluate what you want, which is really not what the meaning of that card meant, so I'm sorry. But number 6 is where you need support, and it's the 9 of Pentacles, and this is where I'm getting that you're a great person, because you have the 9 of Pentacles is like, I think I actually had this card in another deck. The way that the tarot cards go, it goes 1 through 10, and then they have the court cards. The court cards are usually more about personality aspects, but they can also mean working on yourself. Like, you know, the Knight is not much of a king, but they're trying to be a king, that stuff, yada, yada. But 9 is right before 10, and 10 completes the whole 1 through 10, obviously. And it's like you're almost there. You're almost like complete. You have everything. I think that you're very well off money-wise. Maybe not, but it just feels in this part like you don't have issues with money, but you need, I don't know how to say this. I'm trying to think of a way, like, where am I at? I'm trying to read my notes, just kind of, there we go. That's community and relationship. I couldn't think. You need community and relationship, which I think just as if you were yourself more, you would have this community and relationship. You have all the materialistic things you want, but you need people in your life. Number 7 is what would happen, like, what would this, like what achievement would happen if this hold was removed? Kind of if you let it go, what would happen? I got the Star in reverse, which kind of seems negative, but I swear it's not. I think that you're going to learn to nurture yourself and kind of hope for the positive. And it's going to teach you, the way that I see the star in reverse is like, you know, when you wish on a shooting star. I think that right now you're kind of the person that's like, I'm not going to wish for anything because it's not going to happen. And I think once you remove this block, all the fears that you have are going to become joy. And it's a good thing. So I feel like you kind of just need to let it go and it'll be a good thing in the end. 8, 9, and 10 are just kind of steps to help you. They could be guidance cards or steps. I got for the first one is 4 of Cups in reverse. And this card's very pretty. I love this deck, so I'm just going to show it off. I feel like you are going to have sudden awareness of who you are and how beautiful you actually are. And I want you, once you kind of come to this, to embrace it. Don't push it down, because I feel like sometimes you're like, no, that's not good. And don't do that. Just kind of go with it. Embrace your inner beauty and learn to kind of love yourself. And if you kind of have a new idea, go with it. So if something comes to your head tomorrow, just do it. Obviously nothing negative, but you know what I mean. Number 9 is the Ace of Pentacles, which again, pretty deck. It's about new beginnings. So kind of like how this flower is, it's planting a seed and you're starting something new. So kind of, if you're thinking of starting something new, start it, and it's going to help you plant who you really are. Even if it's something small, just start off small and work your way up, because it's the Ace of Pentacles is kind of like, it reminds me of when you plant a seed and the flower starts growing. At first, you don't really see much, but then eventually it's a beautiful flower. Last one is the 4 of Pentacles, which this one. It looks kind of gloomy, but it's still just as pretty. I feel like you are afraid to take this risk. I don't know what it is, but you're afraid to do it. And this card is kind of usually meaning you can't gain anything if you don't take risks. Everyone in life takes a risk. It may be small, maybe big, but there's no really getting anything if you don't try. This could also mean at the moment that you are valuing money over relationships, and you need to let that go. You have enough money. You don't need to worry about money. But I kind of really think that this is more, there's no rewards without risk. And I feel like when you look at it in the front, there's pretty little flowers and stuff in the black. There's something kind of gloomy, but there's still like a sun. And I think this card's kind of saying, hey, you may think of the negative, but there's still always something beautiful out there. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you guys are hiding something extremely important about yourself, and you don't want people to know. And this is probably the longest pile for everybody, because it's just like, I feel like you guys need that extra support. But just know that no matter what, people are going to love you. So if you have any questions or comments, questions or comments, you can comment or message me or whatever you want. But I hope that helped.